gold cards, gold level membership, everything is plaqued with gold in terms of the ultimate, or maybe platinum, or maybe with American Express it's black. They're trying to get to the point where the standard is gold. Do you think that it's possible for people to have the same level of emotional attachment to a cryptocurrency in terms of the way they feel about it?
I mean, I think it's very possible for people to have an emotional attachment to being able to hold on to their own value and to be able to transfer it permissionlessly, to be able to cross a border without it being confiscated, to be able to keep it without having to ask permission from anyone, whether it's a gold storage provider or to go through various processes. You know, today we have a system where effectively to transfer value, you have to ask permission. You know, it's not as if it's your own money. You have to ask the bank for permission and say, oh, can I do that? Do you mind if I do this? Do you mind if I do that? And every gold platform I know has exactly the same process. And so you begin to wonder if you own anything, essentially. And ultimately, the only thing you can own now is Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies, and physical gold in your own possession. But Bitcoin, I think, has a slightly superior quality in the fact that there's nothing to seize or confiscate, because you can have it in your mind, effectively, in a sort of password. And it's more permissionless and easier and more fungible and more tangible, and can be, there is sort of one price. Whereas gold comes in many times in many shapes and sizes, and if you bring a coin or you bring a gold, you have to go to a dealer and they have to measure it, and then they do a discount and a premium. And so digitally, I think Bitcoin is superior in these elements. So I think, yes, there will be considerable attachment to having assets that you can hold outside the system, especially as the system becomes more and more difficult and more prone to confiscating people and preventing people from transferring value.
John, is this homogenized version of gold where you got a price and, you know, your platform allows people to buy at that price? Can that be distinguished between what Adam's talking about in terms of the bullion, which a lot of purists would say is the only real gold you should have if you're going to have gold?
Right. Well, okay, two things. First of all, let's start again with what I mentioned earlier. You know, let's start with Mother Nature, right? Physics. Gold is the most homogeneous substance in the universe. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's an element. Okay, but fine, look at the periodic table. There are lots of elements, but gold is the least reactive of all elements that is not itself in some way poisonous or a gas on Earth, which would make it very difficult to store and contain, even if it's non-reactive, like xenon or something, right? So gold ticks these boxes and does so uniquely amongst all the known elements in the universe as being the most non-reactive element. So once you do isolate it, once you do have it in bullion form, you know, 9999 pure, it will have no entropy, it will not decay, it will not change. And that lack of decay and not changing will pass through the generations and is revered across cultures the world over, time and space, for these reasons in part. It's also just beautiful, etc., emotional, as you were saying. So that's the first part, and that's undeniable, right? No one's going to debate that. Or okay, sorry, go ahead and try to debate it, I'll win. All right, the second part, the second part, however, I mean, to Adam's point, this is where we need to be a little bit honest with ourselves in a different sense. Certain other things are true in the universe other than the periodic table, and they include things like death and taxes. But they also include KYC, know your customer. We live in a world where, for better or worse, governments believe that they should be able, when there is someone claiming fraud, or there is someone claiming some injustice, or whatever it is, governments believe they should have the authority to adjudicate disputes, and that we should not live in a completely anarchic free-for-all. And the fact is, when it comes to disputes regarding the transfer of wealth, the transfer of value or title to anything, be it gold or anything else, most of us probably would like there to be some judicial authority which is placed to be able to resolve these sorts of disputes, and hopefully in an open, fair, transparent, visible way. I wrote a paper in 2014 in which I speculated that one of my concerns about Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency concept was that notwithstanding the robustness of its design, which is elegant and which I admire, absolutely, sadly, that does open it to opaque uses, both outside of any governmental jurisdiction on the one hand, or almost being taken over by governmental jurisdiction on the other, both of which could lead to bad outcomes. Gold, and this is a gold coin, if any of you would like to steal this from me, you're going to have to make a rather public display of that. I'm not just going to let you have it. All right? You're going to have to fight me for it. This is mine. And that public display, one would like to think in a modern democracy, is a way of me defending my property. Everyone will see that you are trying to rob me. What happens with bitcoins? What happens if I try to explain to all of you in the crowd, oh my God, my bitcoins got hacked, or whatever it was? You're not going to really see or understand what happened. And if it's the government itself that has done the hacking, for whatever reason, it thought it had the right to confiscate my bitcoins somehow, what recourse do I have? Gold is kind of a monetary habeas corpus. If anybody wants to seize my gold, they're going to have to make a very public and physical display of it, which will include possibly violence. I'm not sure that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies can fulfill that particular freedom criterion, as it were, in quite the same unique way that physical gold can.